What's up, YouTube? This is Yoke coming at you again. I'm going to be doing another deck profile. This one is going to be Bijins. I played them a few times, but I never really got right into it. And I never really had the best deck profile up until this point. So, yeah, and I know a lot of people aren't playing it because the format's full of Burning Abyss and Necros and a few Cleaforts and Tellarknights and Shadolls and stuff like that. So, yeah, this deck is a pretty good if you're a budget player, and I've made a couple budget decisions on this deck as well. So I might as well get into the main deck. So to start off with the monsters, obviously you run 3 copies of Yamato. You just need the deck. You just really need the deck. The 3 copies in the deck. You just can't get around it. To start off with the budget choice, the sleeves were the cheap Konami Yu-Gi-Oh sleeves. That was one of my first budget choices. But so the 3 Yamato. Standard, and you need it. 2 copies of Bujin Mikazuchi. The most people play this card at 2. I also think it needs to be run at 2, but some people run it at 1 just to fit other stuff in. But 2 is the best choice in my opinion. And then obviously 2 copies of Bujin Hirume, the most expensive Bujin card or Bujinji card in the deck. Like, this is the most expensive monster you'll be running, unless you want to bling out your Honest. But if you can't, being that it's $10 US, so it's the most expensive monster you'll be running. If you can't afford the Bujin Hirume, a good replacement is 2 copies of the Dark Dragon Collapse Serpent. If you can't afford the Hirume, it's a good replacement if you're wanting to go even more budget. But I personally run the 2 Hirume, and then the 1 copy of Arasuda. 1 or 2 copies is fine. I chose to run 1 just to keep room, give myself more room for other stuff in the deck. And then so that ends I think that ends the actual Bujin monsters themselves. The next monsters I run are the Bujinji monsters, in which case obviously you run the 2 turtle and the 2 hare, because the hare prevents targeting, and the turtle prevents turtle prevents targeting on a Bujin card, and hare prevents destruction by battle, and they're both once per turn. So yeah, in my opinion, 2 of each is needed. And then I also run the 1 Quillen. I don't run the Sinew because you do run other stuff. And then obviously you run the 3 Bujinji Crane and the 2 Honest. I decided to make with the Honest, I decided to make a budget choice and go with commons because they were the cheapest. But yeah, so the 3 Crane, 2 Honest is pretty standard in all of Bujin decks. And that runs off the monsters. I think there's 16 or 17 monsters there, maybe even 18 at the most, but yeah. And the next card is obviously the triple tanky. Yeah, I know it hurts me to do the mixed match rarity with the 2 gold, 1 common, but yeah. But 3 tanky standard. Then 2 copies of Bijins Carnation. This is also standard. This is your 1 card XYZ. It's really, really good late game, horrible beginning of game. Then, obviously, the 2 copies of MST. I've seen people run this at 1 or even 0. I honestly disagree with that. 2 is still a good number for the game right now, because there is still back row. And then my next budget call was running a Dark Hole instead of Regeki. I've got a Regeki, but it's in the deck that I'm primarily running right now. But yeah, 1 copy of Dark Hole is definitely a good budget choice replacement for Regeki if you just don't have it. And then the next spell that I run, the next one of that I run in the deck, is the Book of Moon. Gets out of the Dijin lock and other pesky monster effects. And then a 3 of that I play is the 3 copies of Pot of Duality. It just helps you search deeper into the deck to grab stuff. And you want to get to your Yamato as fast as possible. There's a reason why they call this a helmet deck. And then the last for the spells I run is Kaiser Coliseum. Allows you to sit on Yamato more. So yeah, that rounds off my spells. And then to start on the traps, I run a few more traps than most Bijin decks run. 1 bottomless, 1 compulse. I can't bring myself not to run compulse. 2 copies of Mirror Force, a Solemn Warning, Torrential Tribute, and 2 wiretaps. Those rounds off my traps for the deck. Wiretap mainly for things like Solemn Warning, Bottomless, Compulse, things like that. I don't see very many Bijin decks running it. I can't understand why, but that rounds off my main. To start off my extra deck, so one Tsukiyomi, 1 Kagasuchi, 1 copy of Amaterasu. You don't need more than 1 of each one of these Bijin XYZ monsters. And then obviously the 2 copies of Susanoo. You just need 2 copies. You don't need to run 3. I would just suggest the 2 copies of it. And then a copy of Tiger King. Like, you could literally, like, if you really were tight on cash. Oh yeah, and then 1 copy of Diamond Dire Wolf. If you were seriously tight on cash and you didn't really have money to really spend on anything more, these 2, 4, 6, 7, these 7 cards are literally like all you really need to run the deck. You don't need to run any more than these 7 extra deck cards. If you don't, it'll function just fine with these. You don't need to run more if you don't have it. If you don't have the cash for it. So that's like 1 Tsukiyomi, 1 Kagasuchi, 1 Aramitsu, or whatever it's pronounced, 2 Susanoo, 1 Tiger King, 1 Diamond Dire. And then some more of the other stuff that just help the deck out. 1 Steel Swarm Roach. I picked this over number 50, Black Ship of Corn. I'm still kind of tossing up whether or not I want to run number 50 or not, but I run a bunch. I play against at my locals against a bunch of decks that run high level monsters, which is why I run the Steel Swarm Roach. And then getting into the more expensive stuff, Lavolval Chain. You can get the gold rarity for the cheaper one if you want. This is the secret rare. 1 Gaga Cowboy. This is still pretty cheap. for game finishers and stuff like that, and setting up a defense. Abyss Dweller to go up against Burning Abyss. 101, you can use the gold one if you want. Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon, Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, and then Kestel. These are some of the more expensive choices. But yeah, that's my deck profile. I didn't make a side deck because I used the main deck for build my main deck based around what I see at locals, and I don't see Necros and I don't see Burning Abyss in the in my locals very often, so I don't usually need to side. So and I'm the only Quill-Off player in the group in my local, so I don't need to side for those either. But anyways, that's my deck profile. So comment what you think in the comment section below, and please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Have a good day.